I've been caught red-handed. Joe was telling me something. Yeah, it's open. Hi, guys. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Karemi.
Hi, everyone who's checked in. Sorry, we're 4 minutes late. We were sorting out a few things, but we're here. And I was just telling Melissa a few minutes ago, hey, today it's been extremely difficult to psych myself for this, but that's what happens when you're doing something amazing. You feel like everything around you is fighting against you. Yesterday, Taji didn't sleep well. She kept waking up, calling me, and I think I've slept for like 4 hours. I am so exhausted, but yeah, I'm here, and I thank you also for for giving of your time, because I know you're also feeling sleepy. Pole, Mama. Can you hear Taji screaming, Mama?
Yeah, you're just a mom, just a mom.
I tell you, how are you today, my dear?
I am also good.
Yeah.
Tired. Glad that it's Friday, but it doesn't really make a big difference for me.
I know.
Yeah, but also excited. I didn't anticipate the responses from yesterday and the overflow conversations, and yeah, thank you for just this opportunity and this platform.
Yeah, thank you for joining us on this whole thing. Like Melissa said, we were overwhelmed with the support and the comments and the feedback. We didn't, honestly, when we were planning this thing, we're like, yeah, let's just do it, the usual, having a conversation with my friend Melissa. But seeing all the responses has made us realize, remember yesterday we were saying we'll need to do another live maybe next week. We realized we need to do it today, when the fire is hot, when the conversation is still fresh, so that, So here we are, the homeschooling question and answer time with Melissa Wakhu. We had a whole list of questions that weren't answered yesterday, both on YouTube and mostly on YouTube and also Facebook. So we'll just take this time to go through those questions and comments and just have a conversation and continue learning. If you still have new questions, please feel free to send them. We'll answer them as we go along. Yeah, Melissa?
Yep.
That's the plan. So we'll go right through it. The first one from this one I remember was on YouTube. Mama told me, hey, thank you so much. You sent us so many amazing questions. I think she's the one. She was the biggest commenter, if that's how on YouTube. So yesterday she asked, what credentials are essential when you're looking for a homeschool tutor?
And
yeah, this is for parents who are looking for a tutor.
Yeah. I even ended up having just today a conversation with Mom at home. So I hope she's back online. Amazing person with so many great questions. And we just discussed it. What credentials are essential for looking for a tutor, and the number one was someone who loves children.
All right. Okay.
And that shouldn't be limited to someone with a degree in education.
Okay.
Because this is someone you're going to live with your child or children every day. They have to be motivated and passionate. And a lot of my friends who have schools have found that if you're looking for someone who's innovative, sometimes you have to look beyond someone with a degree in education. It could be someone with a background in IT or engineering or marketing, because they've learned other skills and they're there because they love working with children. And so questions you could ask them is, what's the experience with children? Have tester days, have them spend a day with your child and just see how the chemistry is like. And it also has to be someone who has initiative and innovation and is professional. Because you don't want them to carry themselves like a home manager or a domestic worker. They need to be able to know this is a curriculum we're using at home, and at the end of the day, if the child needs to know how to write a sentence, they can innovate beyond the curriculum and be creative, based on how your child is. They won't just say, I've done it, we've ticked the box, but yeah. And then someone who is teachable or trainable, who will use the words that you will use when you're training your child. So they're not frustrated and using the words our teachers used. George has done amazing videos about that. A typical Kenyan teacher.
Yeah, God have mercy. How we survived, only God knows.
Yeah.
Wow, anyway, yeah. So thank you.
Someone who's professional. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Thank you for that question, Mama Tom. I'm glad you also had a conversation on the side. It looks like she's actively seeking for questions. I mean, for answers regarding homeschooling. And yeah, she's helping us to have amazing discussions. Still, Mama Tom asking for the same tutor. Can you get the same one for if you have children of different ages? She has a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. Can they be tutored by the same teacher?
Yes, they can, because a teacher is trained to teach anything. They're not trained specific to age.
Okay.
And a teacher should be able to teach multiple students. Don't they do that in schools?
That's cool. Yeah.
In fact, I have serious respect for teachers who handle many children. I don't know how they do that. So a teacher should be able to manage their different needs. And that's something that should keep them motivated. You want a tutor who's excited about setting lesson plans and goals. Because that's something that should make them want to come to work every day and not get bored with just going through the routine. So yes, one tutor should suffice, unless you're specializing and having a language tutor for, say, French or Spanish, and that's beyond their expertise.
Yeah. Understood. And this is actually a good point, time to discuss. I've seen a lot of teachers taking the initiative because, some of them, especially those who teach in public schools, have been made, they don't have a job right now. So I feel like this is a great time for them to make money of their own. They can set up tutoring sessions. I've seen posters in the mall where we live. There are teachers who are advertising for Spanish, French, math. And I believe if there are any teachers listening in, this is the time to give of your services, because us as parents would love your help. A lot of us are not as good as Melissa in schooling. So yes, there's a huge need for tutors. So
you're absolutely right. There's a big need, a big market, and a lot of the teachers will end up earning more than their salary would pay them.
That is so true. And then there's a flexibility, they can be able to plan it around their own times or their own schedules, and have, I think it's an amazing time for you teachers. If it was me, by the way, we might be laughing about it, but I know even for you, you've been asked by many people whether you can tutor their kids.
Yes. Hey, I'm not sure. Let me start with mine. However, it's so interesting. Something that has been sparked out of this platform and these conversations, and so thank you for this opportunity, is I've always viewed myself as a young homeschooling mom.
Okay.
And not realizing that the experience that I've gone through, that knowledge can be beneficial. So I'm available, and I love that we shared the email address, and I'm willing to work with people to find solutions. So I may not educate your children, but I will help you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Melissa. You've had her straight from her mouth. She's willing to give you advice or answer your questions on the side. If you check our live broadcast today, we posted all the links, and we can post them again after this broadcast, just to show you the emails or the pages or the resources that we talked about yesterday, that you as a parent or anybody who's interested you can have a look and see, and check them out, and also check, start the conversations with Melissa. So Mama Tom, by the way, what's her name? Now that you talked to me on the side, do you remember?
Yes, I do. Because you've asked it and I've gone Wangari.
Mama Tom, Wangari, that's my daughter's name. She's Taji Wangari. Anyway, so she asked again, I hear the Finnish school system is one of the best in the world. Can I decide to adapt a Finnish curriculum to a homeschooled kid? What do you think?
First, the Finnish are amazing people, because they have also found a way to monetize their school system. And so they have what they call educational tourism, where schools and Ministry of Education and universities, they go to China to see how to produce, guys go to Finland to see how to teach.
What? That's amazing.
It really is. And they've invested a lot in their education sector, where they have people who their job is even to plan for the future. Where is innovation and technology going? And what careers do we need to be working towards? I have just done a search. I'm not sure it's available to purchase their curriculum, because part of their curriculum is the mode of the way it is taught. It's not a box They still, if it's math, they will still learn math. What is different is how they do it, the age at which they do it. Their teachers are some of the best paid teachers in the world. In fact, it's an amazing thing to be a teacher in Finland, and you go through such rigorous training, and their brightest become their teachers, as opposed to here where very few people actually became teachers because they wanted to be teachers.
True.
So in terms of as a curriculum to a homeschool child, I'm not sure. But you can adopt the methodologies, which they have online.
That makes sense. Is that the country where I think I watched this on? There was a documentary we watched a few years ago. How America, where to invade next. I think the documentary was made by Michael Moore, and he'd gone around different countries showing the different education systems. And I remember him talking about Finland and actually visiting the schools and how they focus more on play more than education. And the children are so well adjusted, and they actually have the brightest minds in the world. And I remember thinking, wow, if only that could be adopted here, because I've seen the benefits of play for children. And so I can understand why Wangari is asking about the Finnish school system.
And to adopt it, it also means, because they start school at 7, 8 years, that means a child at that age is not reading. In our Kenyan context, you have to be okay with your child not reading.
Yes.
And the pressures that come with that, because we are always trying to keep up. So it helps that as a country, they have slowed down the age at which they get into rigorous academics, because there's benefit to allow the child to develop. Which is why I think it's a good thing that CBC schools it's like a repose, because ultimately it means the entry age will have to be later, because the whole of this year has basically been cancelled. So it's a good thing that kids will end up going to school when they're older, when they're ready to learn. Because there's an amazing book I'd recommend called Better Late Than Early.
Better Late Than
Early. Which talks about you're better off waiting to take children to school later than pushing them to start early.
Amazing. I was laughing when you started this statement, because I'm one of those parents who's been feeling pressure because we didn't sign up for the virtual school system for Taji, even though she was in a school at the beginning of this year. And I've been feeling pressure, wondering, oh my God, what are the other kids learning? Is Taji falling behind? She can't read. She's only, and then I had to have a meeting with myself. Say, breathe. She's only 4. She will. You go at her pace. Go at your pace. Everything is crazy right now. We still have a lot to figure out, and it's okay that she doesn't know how to read. So it's important for parents to switch off the craziness in our minds and not put that pressure on our kids. They shall learn, like you said, better late than
early.
Than too early. Than for me to push her. Yeah.
And who said today? I saw an interesting quote of, parents we feel like our children will be behind, or they will miss out, or they will be slow. But who decided globally where a child should be at the age of 18?
That's true.
Even now, I am learning English. My English is so horrible. My grammar is so bad.
Really?
And I'm still learning, my spelling. I've become so used to Word and the spell checker that if you're to ask me to spell words, I go blank. So at what age, we need to get out of that gap and missing the mark. And if they start reading at 13, be okay with that. They will read, and they will read well. What's important is joy in the process.
Wow. I love that. That's a quote. We shall post it after this. I love that so much. I need that in my life. So Wangari again asked, let me go to the next question. I have seen many people being conned by agents. What is the best way to find a qualified homeschool teacher? Well, we discussed that a few minutes ago. I haven't. There are situations like that. I haven't heard of. There are con artists pretending to be tutors, or what's the situation?
Yes, there are. There are even institutions that call themselves homeschool centers.
Yes.
Some are legit, but with everything, there's opportunities for people who are opportunists. So you sign up, drop your kids, but they really don't have a teacher. And even if they have a teacher, it's not necessarily a qualified teacher. So I'd say the greatest place to start is in the school that your child was in.
Yes.
That teacher that your child liked or that gelled with, try and woo them. If they're not able to quit their job to work, they will be able to recommend someone. But there's also a Facebook page for homeschoolers. It's called Nairobi Homeschool. And a lot of tutors post their availability there. Some may be legit, some may be fake. You just have to spend rigorous time with them because it's like a bureau.
Of course.
You'll get the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. Well, I was actually going to ask you if there's like a legit, if there's a place where we can go and find, legitimate tutors, if there's a center or a place where they're registered. But I believe as the homeschooling community is growing, maybe in future that will be a requirement.
A good opportunity, for
people to register as a legitimate homeschooling center. So thank you for that page. You said it's called Nairobi Homeschooling.
Yes, Nairobi Homeschoolers.
Oh, homeschoolers, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's on Facebook?
On Facebook, yeah.
All right, great. So Wangare is asking again, what are things that only people who homeschool know? The good, the bad, the ugly? Share your secrets.
Let me start with the ugly.
Clever. So that we forget them after.
Yes, when we're done.
Mm-hmm.
The ugly is homeschooling will bring out the worst in you. You know, the Hulk, when he becomes a monster.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Homeschooling will bring out the insecure mom who listens. You'll meet another kid who is Taji's age and is doing things more amazing than Taji, and you'll go back home and you'll be so upset with Taji.
I know.
And the monster in you will just come out and try to push her. Yeah. And what's driving that is your own insecurity that you're failing. And that's a battle that you have to conquer every single day.
Yeah.
I always say the fact that God gave you that child, you're exactly what that child needs. With all your issues and all your failures and
reach.
Yeah. But we have to deal with that. You'll get impatient. You know, at least when your child is in a school, you can blame the teacher.
True.
In this case, you're it. If they're struggling in something, you're the one to fault. You're the one at fault. It's either, and not necessarily, it's just that's the ugly. The other ugly is you will have great plans, but you probably won't accomplish them. You'll have amazing targets. You'll have great things you've pinned up on the wall. And great things that you want to do, but you'll keep failing at them.
Yeah.
And that's another ugly. Another ugly is your child will probably learn differently from you.
Okay.
And so you will clash a lot. For example, if you think learning requires art and hands-on and your child can't stand that. And it means then you have to re-engineer how you're going to teach. And that's a whole process. And so the real ugly is it'll take years before you find your rhythm in homeschooling.
Okay.
And that, I think going in with that, when that happens, then you will know, okay, this was the ugly. Let me see it for what it is. The good that comes out of it is if you persevere, you'll grow as a person. You'll come out calmer person, more educated. I find these days when I watch a series or anything or current affairs, there's a light bulb. I'm able to say, oh yeah, the history of that place was because in 1978, did you know?
You can throw the in.
Yeah, and I can throw in the classification. You know, that is from Kingdom Animalia because it has, or that is an insect because, you know.
Nice. So it's open your brain to opportunities and knowledge that you wouldn't have been exposed to.
Yes, exactly. There's a redeeming that happens and a restoration of your own education.
Okay.
And out of that, then you discover your gifts, your talents, Another beautiful thing that happens is the opportunity to watch your child learn. And I'm sure you've had those moments where you've struggled with something, and then when they get it, to be a witness of that moment is so beautiful. It's like watching them take their first steps.
I know. That's
yeah
true.
yeah and then you bond. The world is always throwing things at our children. You're not tall enough, you can't read enough, you're not fast enough, you can't run enough, you're not great at. But being the primary educator, you get to be their biggest cheerleader, and you get to speak into who they become. You get to tell them, I love that you're feisty and God made you that way, and you need to be that way. Now what we're working is, how can you use that feistiness in a good way?
True.
Or I love that you're passionate. Just redirect your passion from hitting your brother to,
painting on a paper.
So you get to speak and to call out and to encourage and to invest your resources, your time, your ability. If you're hiring a tutor, you get to hire the best there is for them. And the only people who get that opportunity are, the kids who are either sporty or actors, who get to have their own personalized tutors who follow them in life. But you're offering your child the opportunity to be taught by someone who desires the best and is completely committed to that. And you get to be friends. I love that I'm my children's friends. And I like to believe that they think of me as their friend. So the good definitely outweighs the ugly. And remembering the good keeps you going on the ugly days.
Awesome. I love that so much. There's so many little nuggets that you've shared there that are just, going around in my mind. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of deep things that we can all think about. And I love the fact that, yes, Taji is talking to her dad. Just excuse us for that. Anyway, while I think about the next question, I can see there's some comments. Let's see. There is Redletterke. Thanks again for joining us today. Thanks for being there to help us. Thank you, Redletterke. We also acknowledge that you are also doing so much for the homeschooling community. And for those of us who are still learning. Nazareza, hey, thanks for joining us again. Hi, Mel and Karemi. Hi. Nazareza says, thank you for these sessions. Is there any education system that is somewhat close to homeschooling? Awesome. That's a good question.
It really is. There's syllabus, there's system, there's curriculum, and there's what is called, I hope I pronounce it well, the pedagogy. Which is the framework or the approach. And so any education system can be replicated at home.
Okay.
You can pick CBC resources and replicate them at home. But you start with a goal, and the goal is, can I say, it's a moving target. There's the goal in your head, but as you get to know your child, the goal will be fluid. So be fluid in terms of this goal. You may start out thinking sciences are our strong suit, but end up discovering art is actually, and so we will teach in an artistic way, maybe. So I'd say all resources can be utilized at home. And right now in the digital space, there's a lot of virtual classes, a lot of online opportunities even, to be able to use whatever resource that you want at home.
That is so true. Yeah, thank you, Nazareza, for that. She says, Galvo, Ati, what's important is joy in the process. I get glimpses of joy. The rest feels very uphill. Thank you for the assurance that it will take time to find rhythm that works for both. I feel you, Nazareza. We are all in that same space. Everything feels so difficult, but I feel after this conversation, we'll refocus our minds to look for the glimpses of joy every single day, so that keeps us going with the whole process.
And one tip that I have learned is, assuming you're not on holiday and you want to start school, start slowly. Don't hit them hard. Start with, what's your favorite book, and read that book for 2-3 days, and then add, okay, what subject do you want us to do next? If they say art, and that it's a slow motion into that rhythm. But as with our psych, we hit them with science, art, math. So the cow just refuses. Yeah.
True.
They get so confused. So the way we wake up,
pages. You have to do.
So start slow, get to your climax, and then also begin to drop slowly, because they're not machines, they're people. Yeah.
Nice. Margaret Njerimbai. Hi, Mom. The beauty.
Hi.
She's so loyal. Thank you, Mom. Thank
I
you.
know.
The beauty is now you are the sole authority. No more. But Mom, teacher said. That is so true. I used to get a lot of that when Taji would come home. When I try and teach her, she says, no, Mom. But teacher said, now Mom is the teacher. So.
And now the flip side of that is, because you're the teacher, you have no one else to blame.
True.
You can always blame, those teachers are so incompetent, that school, that bad accent, they're picking it from the teacher.
So guilty. I know a lot of people did those things before. Tumepata kiboko kweli.
Yeah, but it's also a wonderful opportunity to up our game.
Yeah, very, very true. We had talked about this earlier. Have you considered training wannabe homeschoolers? Yes.
Yes, now I am. In fact, now you, George, and now my husband, Declan, has joined the bandwagon and has told me, because I still, there's this thing called the imposter syndrome. I don't know if you've heard about it.
I have. We fight it every day.
Where you feel, but there are people who are more qualified, the people who've gotten more experience, who are more deserving, and even wondering, do I have enough to offer? And I have now grown full circle to learn that it's not about my qualification, it's my heart, my attitude, and my availability. So now I am available and excited to be able to work with wannabe homeschoolers and encourage them and cheer them on and tell them they'll get it. It's hard, but they'll get there.
That's such good news for all of us. We'll share, again, I said we'll share the links. We'll share Melissa's email and any other contact that she has so that you can have conversations with her after this on the side, and you guys can be able to, you can share with us your knowledge. Thank you so much, Melissa, for that. I know a lot of parents need it right now.
Yes.
So wait till January. I can see, there's a guy. It's so awesome to see a guy in the conversation.
It really is.
Mukutsi Kelvin, thank you for the information. Thank you for checking in on Facebook. Kelvin. We appreciate your time and for joining us in this conversation. So my mom is asking, do you make a timetable for each day? That's a very good question.
Yes. I personally don't call it a timetable, but in effect, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Each day needs to have a schedule. The way even at home, you have breakfast, lunch, bath time, dinner, bedtime. And so to have progress, you need to have a flow, a rhythm, a schedule, a timetable.
Okay.
And if as your children grow and are able to read for themselves, or even if they can't read, you can draw for them what their next step of activities, because ultimately you're transferring learning from you being the primary educator to them taking ownership. You want an independent learner. So having consistency in your day and then modeling that for them and then equipping them such that they can do it on their own. I have occasional good days when I wake up and find my children started school on their own. They're not every day, but such days show me, okay, the consistency helps, that they know if mom is busy or she slept in or she's still in the kitchen, we can start with, what do we usually start with? And they'll start on their own. So I'd highly encourage consistency, rhythm, a timetable or a schedule, but be flexible, because there's what is in your head, there's reality, and then there's the children. So it'll take time to find one that works to meet all the needs of the family.
Yeah. I agree about the scheduling, and I know it's been said a lot by experts who are good with kids that children thrive in around schedules. But I know this season has been really difficult for a lot of us. We're juggling so much, just trying to understand this new season, this new normal, as everyone is calling it. And I don't know. Setting a schedule has been difficult. I don't know if any parents feel me. Setting a schedule has been difficult, but like you said, we go with every day. We see, okay, today there are days I'm like, hey, we can't even have a homeschooling session because I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so swamped. I have a lot on my plate today. So I don't want to pass on that bad energy or my exhaustion onto her. So that day we decide, play with your toys or do something else, and we won't exactly have a session where she does the schooling and stuff like that. So
and the goal is not to recreate school at home.
Yeah.
Which can happen, especially if you're transitioning from school to home. You just want to copy paste the timetable and recreate it. No, I'd say discard it, have a few crazy days, run, be wild, be free, and then slowly pick up a rhythm.
Okay.
And find what works, and allow yourself bad days and know that there will be good days. But just with that, I also know that it's possible to allow the bad days to influence your everyday. And our kids need to know that there will be days when I don't feel like doing math, but it's not about feelings. I will still need to chug through that lesson. Okay. I'll still need to walk through hard things, and that's a skill they need to learn. It's because we have a generation of feelers. I don't feel like, so I quit. And we need to grow them to have tenacity, stickability, resilience. And so they need to see us even on days when we don't feel like teaching them.
Okay.
And not letting them quit just because they're crying or throwing a tantrum. You will sit and you will finish your work.
Okay.
So finding the balance.
Yeah. Wow. Nimesikia, Mel. Nimesikia. So there's a question from Nezereza Mudhoni. How do you handle moments when you get angry while teaching your children? Do you walk away, or what other way is there to deal with that? When mommy has a tantrum.
Walking away is very healthy.
Yeah.
If you've already started the tantrum, finish it and apologize. Because we're not modeling for them perfection.
True.
We're modeling for them. Sometimes I will be ugly and unpleasant, and I need to own it and say, I am sorry that I didn't take control of my own emotion. And there's a proverb that we learned. I wish my children were here that helped me, but I think it says, yes, I remembered it. A fool gives full vent to his anger, but a wise man keeps himself under control. And so we've memorized it so many times that when I do that, they actually tell me when I'm apologizing, they're like, you were a fool today.
They call you out.
Yeah, you get full vent to your anger. So it's really nice, even when there's road rage, when I lose my cool, they need to see that, hey, even mom or dad, or we all mess up. So if those moments catch you unaware, fine. But if you find that there are too many, then I'd say retreat and find out what are the triggers. And is your approach to this homeschooling, do you need to reassess it and see maybe I'm coming at it wrong? Because if I'm always angry, then maybe I need to see what is causing it and address the problem. So you can have moments of anger, but you can't be an angry mom. Those are two different things.
You're preaching to me. Let me just leave it at that. Redletterke, remember to approach the child with the understanding that they don't or should not already know what you're about to teach. It is not the same as doing homework where the teacher has already
thank you, Redletterke. Yeah, that's a really great tip. Because it's easy to get frustrated with them and say, how can you not know this? Or how can you not understand it? But they don't know. And sometimes they'll forget. You'll do one page.
You read ahead of time.
Of the teacher, But sometimes you'll do it today, and then tomorrow they look at you like, what are you talking about? I can't remember. So, thank you, Redletterke, for that reminder.
Yeah, because she's saying that this has helped her a lot with being patient with her child as she learns. That tip that she just shared with us. Thank you so much, Redletterke. Nelson, yay, another
Hi,
guy.
Nelson.
Nelson. Nelson Malenya Ongalo. Sorry, I hope I'm saying your name right. Ongalo. Is it Ongalo? Ongalo. There's no apostrophe. My bad. Are there children who fare better in homeschooling as opposed to regular schooling? Does personality matter? Great question.
Yes, that I love that question. Remember yesterday we said every child can be homeschooled. Not every parent can homeschool. So there's a lot at play here. There's a personality of the parent or the tutor who's teaching and the style with which they're using. And there's a child. I know personally some children who did not enjoy their homeschooling experience. And they're now adults and they're working. And it was great talking to them and hearing the experience. And some of it was like this particular girl just had lots of friction with her mom when she was a teenager. And she felt her mom wasn't hearing her. And when she gave any feedback to her mom will take it personally, like you're attacking my efforts. And so that's a reminder to us as parents to constantly hear our children and be willing to re-engineer ourselves. And one child also felt they missed out on social engagements because they're very sporty, but where they were living was far from any other community. And so if you have a child who's outgoing and who needs social interaction, start a community, look for other like-minded homeschooling parents or join communities and meet that need. So there are children who are independent learners and will thrive working alone in front of a computer or with their books. And there are those who will need to work with other people. So yes, personality matters, and the way in which they're bent matters. There are those kids who will catch it the first time and you move quickly. And there are those kids who, we once were at a homeschool conference where these teenage girls were saying they hated math. Mom put away the math book for years. And when she picked it up at 13, she did 4 levels in 1 year. Amazing. And she's so glad that her mom didn't push her. So those are opportunities you can offer your child by homeschooling them, by understanding their personality and tailoring it and being able to confidently say, we're not doing English this year or we're not doing science this year. We'll take a break and we'll do something else. Yeah.
Wow, that's a great answer because it's a reminder for us to, as parents, to know that we need to be deliberate about spending time with our children, learning about their personality, their likes and dislikes, so that we can now tailor whatever homeschooling or not homeschooling, solution that we want to start. So thank you so much for that question. And hey, Melissa, so much information to. I feel, I'm a male. I feel like I just want to sit and think and soak in all that stuff and just amazing. Thank you so much. Wanjiro on Shiro. Hi, Shiro. Loyal friends everywhere. Thanks, Karemi, for these sessions. They're awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in, Wanjiro. Mwongera Mutiga, hi.
Hi, Mwonge.
So great to see you here. Hey, Mel, so nice to see you again. I have a lot of respect for homeschoolers, by the way. My question is, what about exams, accreditation, and moving to the next level? Say, moving to campus. What does that look like at that level? Mwongera, by the way, is Papa Bear? His platform is Papa Bear, so check it out after this. He's doing amazing things. Good stuff. Anyway, that's a great question. Maybe Melissa, you can answer that.
That's an amazing question. Even as I answer it, I've just remembered something I'll tie in with my response to Nelson was, in as much as we're customizing it to our children, we're not creating a utopia. So yes, we want to offer them a learning style according to their personality to give them a fighting chance, but the world is not like that. So if they encounter and like say they're an outgoing child and for a season they'll have to be at home, they need to make it work in the reality, knowing that it's a season. So because we don't want adults who are eggs and they freeze when not everybody is kind and not everybody understands my learning style. And, no, we want them to be able to be flexible, but you start with how they're bent and how they're put together. And so on to Monge's question. It's nice to see you too, Monge. So each system, syllabus, or resource will have an assessment that helps you track and see that they have progressed. Especially for the high school level, it's important that you keep a record of what they're doing, if it's an art project or science, because depending on what they go to study, if they go to study, that's another kind of worms that I'm willing to open and pour here, that they do not necessarily need a university degree to succeed in life. What they need are life skills and character. And to be okay if at the end of the day your child tells you, I am not going to university. I have started a business or I have gotten an internship. I personally know a lady whose mom is a lecturer and she decided she's not going to university.
Okay.
And right now she has an amazing job. If you met her, you won't believe that she just said she doesn't need it.
Yeah.
So depending on what they're going to study in campus, the opportunity you have as a homeschooler is, in their teen years, you can arrange for them to have apprenticeships, visit your friends. If my son or my daughter is into digital, the digital space, I can always call you guys up and say, can they come and shadow and see? And so once they're sure, if they're sure that that's what they want to study, then you work backwards and see what are the requirements. And if they need to sit for an exam, whether it's IGCSE or CBC, then you register them and get them to sit for that exam. If the portfolio should suffice for the university, then that's also okay. So exams become more important when they're preparing to go to university because the university needs evidence of learning.
Of course.
Yes. Okay. So they keep a portfolio, keep a file, and even begin to expose them to exams early when they're 12. Register for an IGCSE and see. Let them get used to doing exams.
Okay. No, thank you. I hope that has answered your question, Mongera. Yes, there's a lot. I feel like every answer you're giving goes back to every family asking themselves the question, what is my priority? And as you continue learning, your child learning what their priorities are as well. Because like we are seeing, the world is changing. We have children who are barely 12 who are gamers or who are, on the digital space and are making millions and who have never seen, have never been to university or even gone to MIT or anything like that. So I feel it's also about renewing our minds and how we view the world as it is now and adjusting accordingly. University is amazing, but it's not always the answer for every child. So yeah, it's something to really think about. So my mom, oh, sorry, I can see Nezereza. Hers is the first, the one that's on the screen right now. I know, right? Start at church.
Kuna M-Pesa, number ya M-Pesa hapo.
Yes, just become a preacher now. Such wisdom. Anyhow, this is your pulpit. Amen. I agree. Like I was saying, so many deep things. Nelson, yes, great answer. I agree, Nelson. Very, very amazing answers. My mom is saying, this is a tricky question. Regular schools send children home to bring parents and guardians to discuss discipline issues. So how does it work with homeschoolers? Parent-teacher conferences to discuss your child's behavior. How does it work with homeschoolers?
So I have someone who wants to say hi first. Say hi.
Hi. How are you?
Say I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Great to see you, Siti.
So we can joke about it, but it always helps to have an outside voice. And that's where community is so important. Community can be within your family unit. It can be the other spouse who's not homeschooling, who holds you accountable. So you need to share your goals and say, please hold me accountable. This week we need to learn X, Y, Z. Part of it means you're making yourself vulnerable, but that's what accountability is. And it's for the greater good of the child.
True.
And so then your spouse can call you out and say, you guys are just going out shopping and errands and field trips. When are you sitting home to learn? And even let them even be the one to administer the assessment and give you feedback. and also let them be the one to spend time with the child, because your children are your greatest feedback. And be open to if they know they can freely give you feedback, then they'll freely give it, and say, I'm not enjoying, how about we try this, or how about we try that. But community, I'm part of an amazing community, Classical Conversations. It's a community that's been there for 7 years now. And it has an amazing group of moms and dads who come. And in that space, then these other parents get to tell me, hey, there's a way your child, how have you been doing this or that? Or it's also the space where they can share their knowledge or their wisdom with me. And they also see things about my child that I never see. Because, you get so caught up in the mundane. But if I got to spend time with Taji, I may be able to tell you, wow, she's so articulate. And that'll blow you away because you've never imagined her as being articulate. So there is that space for, it may not be an official parent-teacher, but also when there are discipline issues, and community calls you out on that. Because in this process of creating utopia, homeschoolers were guilty of letting our children think the world revolves around them and think they're better than others, which is, I guess, an ugly. So having other people call out and say, your child is a bully, your child is rude, or your child is, not social. These are opportunities to grow. So I'd say definitely find a community. If you want to join our community or learn about Classical Conversations, again, the details are right there. And I'm willing to share with you about that.
Wow, that's amazing. It takes a village.
It does. I've seen that joke. Where is the village? Where can I drop my children?
Yeah, because I know that's one of the things that I think African setting used to have back in the day, where because we grew up in, maybe our parents or their parents' grew up in close quarters with the neighbors. They would discipline each other, whether it's my child or the neighbor's child. If I find you doing something wrong, I call it out, and it's sorted right there. So it's good to hear that there is accountability, and you have a community where you guys are basically helping each other to raise amazing human beings. So good stuff. We have Nezareza again. You've mentioned not to push if they don't enjoy a particular subject. And you've also mentioned that one needs to teach consistency, persistence, etc. How does one figure when to push or when to back off? Thank you for that question.
Wow. I guess that really boils down to a parenting question. If the issue keeps recurring, then I'd say, it's time to take a break from books and spend time with your child and find out. As a believer, I love that I have the Holy Spirit, who's a constant guide. So pray about it. This child has a Father in heaven who created this child, who will give you wisdom, or process with another parent and say, I'm really having issues. I'm here. Reach out to me. I'm having issues with this. So what can be some of the things that we can do? Because children are very clever, and they'll know if I behave a certain way, class will end. Trust me, when they don't feel like learning, they will throw that tantrum in whichever way, whether it's a fake headache or a tummy ache or tears. So don't always give in, but also know that there are times when take a break and find out. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I hope that has answered your question, Nezareza. Yesterday, this is a question from yesterday. My mom is asking, how have you been sourcing for ACE materials? Challenges, if any? You had mentioned you had started with ACE. I don't know if you still have any experience.
No, I'm no longer doing ACE. I'm now doing using Classical Conversations as a framework, and then pick other books, internet, to flesh out the content. But for ACE, I know right now they use Oaks Academy, which is in Garden Estate. I don't have the contact, but I think if you Google them, you'll find. Or any ACE school should be able to point you out to where they source all the materials. Some of the challenges that I had when I was getting the resources is they were not ready on time when you needed them. So it's like you needed to order, in advance before when you need it. And then sometimes you'd pay and what you'd get isn't what you thought you'd get. So those are some of the challenges to overcome. But I know the ACE community is really big. They're the largest community of homeschoolers in Kenya. There's so many of them.
Wow.
And so, yeah, they're I think going to thousands of families now. And so if you connect with any ACE school or with Oaks Academy, they'll tap you into their network and they share resources among themselves. So you'll still be able to get what you need from another ACE family.
Oh, great. That's very helpful. Yeah. Mom, I hope that has answered your question. And yay, someone is asking about your book. It's my mom again. We'll talk about her book at the end and even share the links on how you can get it. Please tell us, Melissa.
Yes.
What are the ages for your books? She wants to buy for children.
For ages 0 to 8. When I wrote it, my editor required of me to put an age group.
Yes.
And that helped in terms of thinking of the language and the illustration to put for it. But even as I talk about it, the wonderful HibiscOak tree, from yesterday, some of the conversations that came up is that's probably something that I'll work on is, a unit study or activities that can be done around it, because realizing that it probably comes naturally for me to see opportunities of learning from the content, but it may not be the same for everybody. The way I say, go and get a hibiscus tree, a hibiscus plant, stick it, what are the parts of the plant, anther, pestle, sepal, petal. That may not be directly obvious for everyone. So coming soon.
We will hold you accountable. All these witnesses have had you. It could be an amazing project. Wow, there'll be a workbook.
Just to help, because as something to help parents. And just tied to that, I remember yesterday we talked about, and it came up as a question in terms of African content. And I just thought to share, there is an amazing podcast that we've been listening to called Afriwetu.
I'm sorry?
Afri for Africa. Afriwetu.
Nice.
Like Afriwetu, Afriwetu. And it just takes you through they're short sessions. So, you can put them at mealtime, driving in the car, or when you start in school, but they just opportunity for conversation of great ancient Africans and ancient kingdoms, and the conversations that can spark will be amazing in family context, because I'm passionate about having children who are happy to be Africans and happy to be born in this world and in this context. And the National Museum has also done arts and culture Google, where they have amazing illustrations of people like Sioki Mao, Mekatilili Wamenza, what's that, Londa Magere, so there's great things to do as you're reading out loud, because what I've thought about it is HibiscOak is a great read out loud for families. And when you're done with that, also think of African books and African literature that you can give them. Yep.
Wow, that's amazing. And if you didn't know what we're talking about, we shared yesterday that Melissa has written a book. She's not only a homeschooler, but she's also an author.
And Auntie Shiro.
Oh, and Auntie Shiro. Is she saying hi to Auntie Shiro? Or
yes, she is.
Oh, okay. So this is her book. It's called The Wonderful HibiscOak Tree, and it's written and illustrated by Melissa herself. It's an amazing book. It has such a great lesson for all children and even for grown-ups. That helps us to be secure in our identities. Good stuff, Melissa. We shall be expecting more books. Yeah. So at the bottom, you can see how you can order the book on Instagram. I know you've gotten a lot of inquiries about the book, so thank you so much for the comments and the support that you're giving Melissa.
Yes,
so,
thank you.
Yes, and I want to check if there are any more comments. Thank you, Mongera. You are replying that I see. Keep records to help with the accreditation later. So basically, thank you for answering his question. And my mom is saying, great answer. Using community to raise our children was the African setup. That is true. It's sad that so many of the African cultures, African values were completely washed away by colonization and what's the word? Yeah, colonization. But I believe with time, these things are slowly creeping back into our values, and it's about time that we that we adapt them in raising our kids. So thank you for sharing all those awesome links about African history. We'll share them at the end of this broadcast so that all of us can use them to teach our children. So yes, and talking about supporting each other, there's an M-Pesa line there. Love kits are welcome. This is a season where we are learning. I was telling Melissa before we did this that it's difficult to actually talk about money, because I feel like that's how we were raised, that money is not supposed to be talked about openly. But I mean, this is a season where we're learning new skills and sharing information with others. And if you do feel like this information has been valuable to you and you want to send a little love kit, there's a number right there. Any amount is welcome. Would be so blessed by whatever that you send. The number is at the bottom of the screen, 0111-783-303. Yeah. So yes. Wait, there's something else we didn't talk about. We talked about your book. For anybody else who wasn't here with us yesterday, Melissa, what else do you have? What other platforms do you have? What amazing things are you doing?
Well, I also make natural body butter, butter. Yes, that I've also been making for the last 7 years, just using natural ingredients, mainly shea butter, cocoa butter, beeswax, and natural oils. Karimi has been a wonderful, wonderful client all these years.
Yes,
and it's also available on the page Kono Care. To order. And what else? Yes, there's a Classical Conversations, of which I am the director of the Nairobi community, and we've been meeting for the last 7 years. It's been an amazing space, and I just realized I didn't talk enough about it yesterday. Mainly because I was talking about homeschooling in general, but I'm passionate about what has helped my family, and that's also, I think, is on the link if any family is interested. Especially in this digital space with COVID, we have wonderful opportunities for families to be able to do it where they are.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that, because to me that says we will have to have another conversation about Classical Conversations, the curriculum itself, because I feel a lot of us can learn from your experience with it and help parents in making that decision on whether it's something they can adopt. So Melissa is basically committing to another live. Yay! we shall definitely post when we're planning for the next one. Which cooking oil is that?
So Karimi, as my customer, please answer your mom.
Mom, it's not a cooking oil. She's talking about a body butter. It's a purely organic body butter that can be used on your skin. It has edible ingredients, but it's not for cooking. So yes, it's called Kono oil, and you can buy it from her social media pages. We shall share all the links after this. It's an amazing oil for your skin, and I've even used. Are you supposed to use it on your hair?
Yes, it's also it's great. It's great for hair, from hair to toes and everything in between.
Amazing. So, Mom, I hope that has answered your question. Sawa. She's saying Sawa. Thanks. Yeah, so if there are no other comments and questions, and if there's any question that I've missed out, which I can't see any popping up right now, I feel like we can close this session. I believe when we plan our next conversation about the curriculum, if we do have questions arising, we'll plan for another Q&A, possibly on the same days. Just keep an eye on all our pages and we'll post the information. So yeah, thank you so much, Melissa, for joining me. And
thank you for having us on this platform. I also just want to thank all the dads.
Thank you.
Who got online for Omonge and Nelson and George.
Yes.
Any other dad who's not commented. There was also the other guy who commented. I have found that generally, because mothers are the main who nurture, the decision to homeschool or be more intentional in the education space is a conversation led by the mothers.
Yes.
But when it's the dad who gets there, it's a big win. So thank you, dads who got on, and keep it up. Your families are blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. Before we go, I can see Nezereza had said there's a question.
She wants to have homeschool training.
So yes, we shall post that link where people can email you about homeschool training and they can get all the information and
Yes.
cost assessments. All right, Melissa, be ready for those emails. They're coming. Be ready. Oh,
Roy.
Yes, Roy. Thank you. We see you, Roy, on Facebook. Oh, yes. And we need to wash hands, sanitize, wear masks. Guys, let's continue to flatten the curve. We know the numbers for COVID are still rising, so remain safe. Let's not forget that this season requires us to take care of ourselves and of others. But then wearing a mask is not only protecting yourself, protects others. So, yes. Oh, someone is saying they bought the book and it is super. Oh, yay. Good job, Melissa. You're delivering the books already. Good job.
Yeah, thank you for pushing me out of my comfort zone. The scripture that actually I think I shared with you, Karemi, that enabled me to do this was, a city on a hill cannot be hidden. And so, I'm honored to be able to shine so that people can see this and give God in heaven all the glory. So,
amen.
It's scary to put yourself out there, but if you don't make it about yourself, like you haven't done, Karemi, this is a wonderful platform. And
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a joy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Melissa. So we'll end the broadcast now. We've hit an hour. Thank you for your patience and for hanging out with us for all this time. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.